If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, you might be as good an investor as Warren Buffett. Investor Beat starts now. Thanks for watching. I'm Chris Hill. After last Friday's new high, Wall Street was treading water. As earnings season winds down, health giants Johnson & Johnson and Merck were dragging on the Dow Index today. Joining me in studio, Jason Moser and Andy Cross. Guys, our top story, shares of Berkshire Hathaway up today after first quarter profits rose 51% on the strength of its insurance and railroad segments. This past weekend, nearly 50,000 investors made their way to Omaha for Berkshire Hathaway's annual meeting. One of Buffett's quotes, sort of playing off of the Rudyard Kipling, he said, "Hey, we like to stay sane when other people are going crazy." Once again, not a lot of big news coming out of this, but what was your headline?
No, it's not a lot of big news. I think really the more things change, the more they stay the same with Berkshire Hathaway. And that's what we as investors have to really love. There are two things that really stand out to me here is that number one, Buffett and Munger have done just a tremendous job over the years bringing in just great companies under that Berkshire Hathaway umbrella. And then number two, they've just done a stellar job in creating a culture that really should stand the test of time. And I think it certainly relieves me of any concerns about any succession issues that we don't hear about every year when this meeting comes about.
Once again, there are questions about who's going to take over for Buffett when he's gone. He sidestepped the question once again, but he did say, hey, I know, the board of directors knows. When you think about succession planning at Berkshire, what do you think?
Well, he's been thinking about this, even though we don't know. I think right up there with what will Apple's next big release be. This may be the biggest corporate secret in America. He knows, the board knows. He's got plenty of talent. Like Jason said, with bringing in great companies, he's brought in great people. So they have lots of talent, lots of bench strength there, whether it's Ajit Jain or whether it's Matt Rose, the CEO of BNSF, or his two new investing proteges. He's got really good talent there, so I have no worries about succession planning. The brand of Berkshire and Berkshire's balance sheet is what really makes it special. Warren Buffett is an add-on to that.
Some of our colleagues were in Omaha for the meeting. Our man Rex Moore filed this report.
So another Berkshire annual meeting is wrapping up here in Omaha. 35 to 40,000 people filed into this place. It was packed. Joe, this was my first annual meeting. I know you've been here several times. What is one or two takeaways you have from this one?
Well, the two big ones are that Berkshire still has it and Buffett and Munger still have it. And obviously, it's great to see Charlie and Warren out there. They were just so on a roll today, so energized. It's the most energized I've seen them, honestly, which is really saying something because Munger's 89 years old. And, the reality is those guys aren't going to be around forever, and that's why it's important that Berkshire itself is on a roll, and the company is. It's just had a great first quarter. The business is set up for long-term success, and you can definitely see that in the culture and with the leadership here. So definitely walking away with great impressions.
And did you make it to the expo floor?
I did. I got some See's candy for my wife.
Well, I'm glad you're bringing her something back to Australia.
Yes.
Okay. Reporting for Omaha, for Joe Mager, I'm Rex Moore. Now back to you at Investor Beat.
You got shares of Berkshire trading at a new all-time high today. What do you think of the stock?
You know, I love the stock. I own shares personally. I think that it's probably gotten a little bit ahead of itself with all of the euphoria of the meeting and just having a great year overall. I do think that everyone's portfolio has room for Berkshire Hathaway, but there probably could be a little bit of a price pullback before you add shares.
Well, don't forget the S&P is also at an all-time high too. So when you look at Berkshire Hathaway, it is a little pricey over where Warren himself is buying stock, but still look at the assets, look at the earnings power, look what this can offer a basket of investments, your portfolio, and Jason's right. It belongs in every portfolio.
How many boxes of See's candy do we think Joe went home with? 10, 20?
It's got to be at least double digits.
All right, let's get to some of the day's movers and shakers. 3D Systems up after the stock was added to the S&P Midcap 400 Index. That's a good day. I mean, is there any ripple effect to this?
There's really no big deal, and I think that's what people need to recognize. When you see news like this, when a stock is included in a certain index, that doesn't really matter. Now, let's just pan out bigger picture, look at the company and the actual market. I like 3D Systems. I like 3D printing. These are guys that they sell printers, they sell the consumable items that go with these printers. I like the business and where it's going. Now, it's selling for about 45 times normalized earnings, and I don't like that. The price is a little bit high for me. So investors need to keep an eye on this stock, keep it on their watch list, and when a pullback comes, it might be worth adding.
Tyson Foods down after second quarter profits came in lower than expected. The company also lowered guidance for the full year. That's a pretty bad 1-2 punch.
Yeah, yikes. It's been a tough year for Tyson's. I mean, this is a commodity play, and it's really hard. I mean, it's a large meat producer, and it's seeing input costs, and it has very little pricing power to pass those costs off. So the way to play these is to buy a commodity and a cyclical play like this at the bottom, and we're not there, so I would stay away from the stock right now.
Monster Beverage reports earnings on Wednesday, but today was sued by San Francisco. An attorney for the city wants Monster to reduce caffeine levels and stop marketing their drinks to children. Not a lot going on with the stock. This seems like a pretty big red flag, though.
Maybe. Now, I can't figure out exactly why they're marketing it to 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old kids. I mean, to me, it seems like they've got it completely backwards. It's like you go back to that old Simpsons episode where they're advertising Buzz Cola to the old people. They're old and dull, and then they drink Buzz Cola. They become, rejuvenated and full of joy. So maybe they need to be advertising this stuff more to old people. Truthfully, it's not a company I have a lot of interest in, but with that said, it does generate a lot of cash every year. So if investors are interested, they could probably look at these litigation risks and wait for an opportunity to get in.
And finally, Mobile Mini up big and hitting a new all-time high after first quarter earnings more than doubled. Portable storage units. Who knew?
Well, yeah, it's a basically construction and housing are really the big drivers behind that, and that's been hot. I mean, we've seen now it's been 9 consecutive quarters that Mobile Mini's leasing revenues have been up. So that's a good sign for investors. Obviously, the stock has more than doubled over the last year, so they've gotten on this bandwagon. And really, with the housing market and the construction market still just warming up, the shares could continue to go higher than this.
All right, that's going to do it for Monday. Let's look ahead to the rest of the week. Jason, what's the stock you've got on your radar?
Well, we've been talking a lot about Disney lately with the release of Iron Man 3, and Disney reports earnings tomorrow after the market closes. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. We know that Iron Man 3 is already killing. It's going to be the first billion-dollar movie this year. But it's also going to be worth paying attention to advertising and affiliates that they gain from their ESPN franchise, as well as the parks. I want to see how profitable the parks are this year. All in all, the stock is at all-time highs now. I really see no reason for it to come back. I think it's going to do nothing but go higher, but investors ought to keep an eye on it, because if there's a miss in there and the stock pulls back, I think it's a great buying opportunity.
Okay, Andy, what about you?
Snyder's Lance, the makers of salted snack foods, pretzels, and chips, they report they have a new CEO on. The former chief operating officer has now taken the reins. This is his first conference call. I'm looking to see what they have to say about pricing input, both on the cost side and the ability of them to put price increases into the grocery stores, especially in their own brands and their private label. That's really important for them. So Snyder Lance.
They make Cape Cod chips, right?
They make Cape Cod chips.
Love me
Delicious.
some Cape Cod
That's
chips. All right, for Jason Moser and Andy Cross, I'm Chris Hill. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.